I'm Vivi Ganeshananthan, and I teach in the MFA program in the English department. I teach creative writing, and I teach fiction and nonfiction writing, and I'm also known as Sugi. One of my colleagues, Elaine Ayung, had spent a term here. Maybe it was in the first year that I was at the University of Minnesota, and she spoke really highly of her experience. And I knew that there was a great interdisciplinary environment here, and I'd been at an Institute of Advanced Study before, and the idea of being at an Institute for Advanced Study in the place where I live seemed great, really appealing. This semester I'm working on my second novel, which is called Movement. It's set mostly in northern Sri Lanka between 1981 and 1987, and takes on a very particular part of the Sri Lankan Civil War. I am working on a creative project in an academic environment and have spent a lot of my career doing that. I found it to be really helpful to be in conversation with colleagues whose training in gathering information uses different forms of methodology or uses different approaches, and I've learned a lot from that. And some of my work is, of course, also set among young people on campuses, etc. So I'm also, as I write, always thinking about teaching and listening to the ways that my colleagues research and teach, and think about the ways that they perform service for their communities has been really a big part of my project, actually, as I've been working on it over the years. I think that some of the approaches that I've learned from, I've learned a lot, particularly from social scientists, I think, both here and elsewhere. The way that they think about gathering information, the way they think about interacting with the people from whom they're gathering the information, what is the best way to, say, for example, embed yourself in a community or participate in a community and also observe it. So I'm thinking of anthropology, sociology, then of course, I have huge respect for historians, because the historical context is very important to my work. So being in conversation with those folks has been really rewarding for me. And also, I think being in the IAS and being in Northrop, where there's also art and historical exhibits, and people working on interdisciplinary projects, I've had the opportunity to see, performances, films, to hear the ways that other people write about art. And so that has also created a kind of nice porousness of borders between my art, which is, of course, written, and other forms of creative expression. So that's also really helpful. It's interesting to talk to scholars about what they think about creative work. As I come to the end of my time at the IAS, I can look back at my term and think, what time, what space, what a great room of my own I've had here. I think a really supportive community, staff and faculty with a variety of backgrounds, academic training, a really complex conversation, really interesting debate. I think I appreciate the space that IAS makes for debate and conversation, and also the rigor that it brings to interdisciplinary conversation, the trust it places in its audiences, that I can listen to a complex talk on Korean literature and get something out of it, which I did actually earlier this term. And that I might listen to a conversation about that was partially in Spanish. I was in a talk earlier this term where there was simultaneous translation available, and I took my headphones off and I thought, I knew Spanish once, let's see how I do. And sort of rising to those challenges and being part of a different kind of conversation beyond my department has been a real treat.